Yo. This is where I live, yo. It looks like this is where I live here. No. Dinner, taken care of. We'll talk food later.
Alrighty. So, thank you all for sharing. Nope, you're perfect. So one thing I've been thinking about since has it been 5 seconds?
25
is a topic that it's a big part of my life, and I just kind of wondered if it's a part of anyone else's life, and that's anxiety. And I thought maybe we could just have a conversation about that this morning. If that's okay with everybody here. Is that okay? That's not going to set anybody up. First thing I'd like to do maybe is just check in and see maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're relating to any anxiety at this time in your life, or even just this moment in your life, like not sort of time is in a bigger piece, but maybe just right now, with like 1 being when you're totally relaxed and 10 being, oh, I'm totally stressed out. Anybody can start with that. 1.
Oh yeah. Oh, I thought is 1 relaxed or is 1?
1 is relaxed.
Oh,
and
okay,
you can, if you want to.
You're like, oh my god, are you okay?
Now she's worried. Very excited about this one right now.
And you can share if you like why you're feeling that way or not. It's totally up to you.
I'm reluctant to say 1 because I really thought about it, which probably isn't very good. So I'm going to go with 2. Negligible anxiety, specified.
So right now you're feeling.
Is that fair? You know, like there's something like if I really let myself, I think that for me, worry, like I get worried if I start worrying. So I'm like Michelle, I'm pretty laid back, kind of level person. So, yeah.
So right now you're feeling pretty calm about things.
I can't do anything that I'm saying. But I'm gonna give myself a 2 because I'm sure.
Just in case.
Just in case, it's a little buffer.
I'm June 8th and June 18th.
Ask us the question.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. What's the 9th and 19th?
Yeah.
She said the day before.
Oh, sorry.
I was like, wait a minute. Now make sure.
Does anyone else want to share anything?
I think I'm at like a 4. That's just because I have to go next and I don't know what I'm doing yet. But other than that, yeah, pretty calm.
So you felt you had to go after Michelle?
Wait, oh no, I have to go next. Like,
oh, okay. I thought you meant because Michelle, or not Michelle.
I have to go.
And you went. Michelle went, and then I thought you meant, oh, I have to talk next.
No, just
Okay.
for my still
Gotcha.
next. So
Gotcha.
other than that, I'm pretty good.
I'm about a 5. I'm a very anxious person. I worry more. My son says, Mom, I don't have to worry because you're worrying out for me and everybody else. He's exactly right.
I feel, I think I feel the same way. But you feel you need to be concerned about people around you and things that are happening.
I'm not really anxious about being here right now. I actually feel really calm. Yesterday, if you would ask me, I would have been like a 10 because I was doing my video. But it's not, here, don't feel anxious. I'm feeling anxious about what's next, about going home and packing and getting on the ferry and getting home and the traffic and saying goodbye to all of you. I bet that's more looking sad than anxious. But I'm anxious.
Could I say there would be, I don't know if uncertainty is the word, because you kind of know what's happening, but at the same time you don't know exactly how things are going to play out.
That's right.
Would that be, so when you feel that when you're thinking, I don't know what's gonna happen, and you're worried, and that creates some worry in you, and then you start to feel anxious?
I would say I'm comfortable with 2 now, because I feel ready to be done for 1 hour. Ago I was probably like a 6 or 7.
And so getting through your video was able to help you get through that, get that done.
I think I'm a 4. And I don't really know current, I wouldn't say that's like current feeling, but I know that once today is over, there's things that are anxiety provoking that are coming up for me, so. And a 4 is actually pretty good for me, because I've had a couple, I know what I've felt like when I've been closer to like my
Right.
7 or 8, so.
And what do you feel like when you're closer to a 7 or 8?
It's not a good feeling.
What does awful, can you describe that, like, like with your body,
Yeah,
with your
it's stuck in my
mind?
body and it's not being able to turn off.
So I hear you saying that, so you can't turn off your brain, and so do you get like that, like feel like your brain is going in circles and repeating?
Yeah, or it's not even just like going in circles, but like it's kind of like catastrophizing things. And yeah, like it kind of bubbles out into other areas.
Okay. So catastrophe, I can't even say that word. But that makes me wonder if when you're feeling anxious, you start to overthink things and build them into bigger than what they are,
Yeah.
and then you feel
It's
more anxious.
overthinking. It's less that like I'm saying everything bad is gonna happen, but it's like this can happen or this can happen, which that's not surprising necessarily, but I'm thinking of all possibilities.
Right.
Yeah.
Can anyone else to relate to what you're saying?
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's interesting because you say it's like in your head, and for me that's, I'm sure outside of everyone, it's just like what you're making of it. So it's not even like, for me, it's not the situation itself, it's me working myself up over whatever's probably not even gonna happen.
So so what happens with you is you think, oh my God, this is gonna happen, and this is what I'm gonna feel, but in reality, it might not even be that way at all.
Usually not.
So interesting that for me, so much of anxiety is how you choose to interpret your body's physiological reaction to stress. And so if you choose to fight and kind of lock yourself onto that, then you can kind of carry away in this wave where you lose control. And so I think that it just comes down to part of it, for me anyways, is how I manage stress. So it's like, do I choose to ride that wave, or do I choose to sort of be like, no, that's, like, oh, that's shitty, and I have to deal with that. And then it doesn't cause me anxiety. Usually, obviously there's things, it's like when your kids are hurt or stuff like that, there's always these situations that cause anxiety. Right now in my life,
Situation. Sometimes I could be a basket case. When our one brother was hospitalized because he was sick, I don't even remember those days. I just remember like walking around like a zombie, and the pediatrician being like, "You might have to go to NICU," and just being like, "Oh my God, what's happening?" So, and like having to go back to work, super anxious, but it doesn't last for me. Like I don't feel like I'm anxious all the time. It's very situational.
So what I hear is like, it's just, you think that there's situations in your life or things that happen, experiences that will create the anxiety for you,
Yeah, and once
but it's not a steady thing.
Yeah, once I start thinking, I can make it a lot worse or just keep thinking of the worst that could happen.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is when I don't feel like I have control.
So when you start thinking about worst case scenario, that's when you start to feel,
And then I have to start talking to myself. Right? Well,
Yeah.
Get back.
get your shit together.
Yeah, get your crap
Just gonna
together,
say.
back into reality here. these are the facts, this is what's actually happening, not this, you know, and then I'm fine.
Thank you for that segue, because I did want to ask what strategies people use to help themselves feel less anxious. If anyone would like to share that, whether it's the talk, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I like deep breathe and ground myself, but sometimes I forget to do that.
How does yoga help you?
It's just so relaxing. If I am stressed about something and I go to yoga, I'm never stressed about it when I leave.
So when you go to yoga and you go with do you go with the intent like, okay, I'm feeling a little stressed, but I'm gonna go do some yoga, and your intention is it will make you feel calm, or it'll at least feel calm for the moment?
No, I feel calm after too.
So
Yeah.
it helps you deal with whatever is creating the anxiety. Anybody else want to share anything about that?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's taking a while, but running now is like, okay, I'm really antsy at the end of the day, and I'll know that I'll need to go for a run. And just, yeah, like, kind of that self-talk bit that Michelle was talking about, because I used to have really bad anxiety when I was like a kid and a teenager, and yeah, it's taken a long time to like train myself to not just go to like the worst case scenario all the time. But yeah, so I definitely would say like anxiety is not common for me anymore now that I've got those things figured out.
So running is like a form of release for you.
Yeah, for sure. Because before I used to just do like the mental kind of thing, but I'd still have like that physical kind of, you know, like icky anxiety feeling. Yeah, and then now I know I'll be like, I need to run or, you know, do something, and it works pretty well.
I'm curious to know what you know what your body feels like when you're doing your run and you're getting to the end of your run. If you can feel any like feelings or changes in your body as you.
For sure, like even just like my mind like focusing on, okay, you're gonna, you know, go to this route, like focusing on where I'm running or just like the music I have in or all that kind of stuff. It's like a mental shift first, and then I like by the end I'm like, I feel tired, but in like the best way possible. Like it's just, yeah, it's like a gradual, just kind of like melts away.
So the anxiety, you feel it coming out of your body?
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's taking a walk or laying down.
How does that make the anxiety feel less and go away? What does it do to your body?
The exercise makes my body feel good, gets me thinking about nature, and grounds me, and really takes my mind off about noise that's going on in there. It helps me sleep, and a lot of that just really relaxes me.
Doing myself.
Home every day.
Yes, I know. It's my breath.
So I thought that we could, so we talked about our anxiety levels and if we've got any anxiety going on right now. And we talked about how we all individually deal with anxiety. And I wanted to try something similar to actually what Heather did the other day, just with the breathing. If you're wanting to try, you don't have to participate if you want to. And it's actually a bit more of I don't want to say a counting exercise, but it involves paying attention not just to your breathing, but to doing a count of breathing. So to me, it was explained as a meditation, and I don't know a lot about meditation, so whether it truly is or not, I'm not sure, but that's what I use it for, and that's what I call it. So it's like breathing in one, out one, so you do to the count of 8, and then you start again. But if you lose track of while you're getting to your 8, you have to go back to 1 again to bring yourself back to the focus of like. That's how I do it. This is just how I do it. You can do it however you like. And then in my head, it's like 2 in, 2 out. And then lots of times for me, by the time I've gotten to 4, I've gone off somewhere else in my brain, so I need to bring my focus back to, okay, start at 1 again. And I try to do that for 2 minutes. And for me, that's really hard. For some of you, that might not be tricky at all. You might just be, yeah, no problem, I can count to 8 14 times in that time. And some of you, like me, may not ever get to 8. But I was wondering if you would like to try that, we could try that now. Does anyone try that?
I'm just gonna look at my watch and see if we can make it to 2 minutes. And you can start whenever it goes into position. Which I understand. You can start already. That's great. You close your eyes, do whatever comfortable position you want. Wondering how that felt for you. Just look here in silence and just listen. Just breathing and focusing. And did anybody able to make it to 8 and be able to start? Because I wasn't.
I got to 8 and I thought it wasn't enough, so I kept going to 18 and then that people went and I'm like, I'm not ready.
When you get to 8, you go back and start.
That's okay, I continued on guys, but when the people went, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
keep going.
So why did you want to keep going?
I'm young and only because I like got so relaxed there for a minute. Like it, yeah, like oh quiet, I was like, oh no, the light, like it was so nice. Yeah, exactly.
I do that in the night when I can't sleep. That's my routine.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how the silence felt.
Yeah.
Is it nice to be, after listening to a lot of talking every day and all day for 2 weeks, to just kind of, this is what I'm hearing, is just nice to have this sort of peaceful moment in silence. So I'm not really sure, we're only at 20 minutes, and I'm feeling a natural closing because A, I'm hypervigilant that our instructor is watching us. And I'm not really sure where to go next because I expected there to be more anxiety, so you want to help me out?
Yeah, I can.
You can't, or did you say you?
No, no, of course I can.
Because I'm super anxious and not just because of this, so I thought maybe others would be just too, you're all so damn relaxed.
Well, there was lots of richness that you could pull out of the anxiety too, because one of the things that, you could really notice in terms of the anxiety, so that you kind of pull up the chair and be a part of the group rather than stand there. Just go back for a sec before that exercise, and just one of the things that I was noticing and listening was that there seems to be for people both a cognitive component of anxiety and a body component of anxiety. Is that something that would fit for most people? Yep. So there's kind of a mental, there's kind of a physical, and there's kind of an emotive. Is there kind of a spiritual component to anxiety? I mean, if you think about it, that's kind of the fourth row.
Because like your body is if you look at the medicine, there's whole components.
Well, that was for
So
me.
it's part of it. The balance.
Okay, so, the fourth, and the medicine wheel, that would go, spiritual would be there. And for you, your anxiety kind of ties to spiritual, or how would you see those two tying together, or would you?
Spiritual and
Anxiety.
I'm not a real spiritual person, but sometimes in my stressful situations, I feel that if other things aren't working and I kind of know it, I can become a little bit more, like, I can feel a little bit more relaxed.
So one of the ways that I could hear you is that Michelle's saying that kind of hope, there's a sense of hope sometimes when you move on to other things, and that might fit into the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
Yeah, does that fit at all? You were gonna ask something.
I was thinking of connecting to Mother Nature, and so when I go for a walk in the woods, and it gets me grounded, and it allows me to be connected with a greater power. If
So
that makes sense.
one of the things that spirituality could also bring in terms of anxiety is that it reminds you that there's more than just you, whether that be nature, whether that be whatever you define as another power. You can think about a whole other way to go. So one of the things I really heard when you were talking about anxiety and anxiety in the body was that in part, anxiety in the body is a motivator. If I heard you correctly, it helps you run. Yeah.
So I want to get rid of the feeling, so, yeah.
Yeah, so anxiety kind of is a little bit of an energy.
Yeah.
And is that kind of part of what you find in terms of your run, that anxiety sometimes helps you get out for that run?
Yeah, I suppose being really calm, I probably would think about using up that energy right away, yeah.
I can relate to that too, because I feel like if I go for a run and I'm feeling super calm, I don't want to say successful, but it's really, really hard for me to get through it. Yeah, but when I'm like stressed out about something or anxious about something, I feel like I can run with no problem. Well, obviously there's a really big problem, but
Yeah, you got like some drive behind it.
yeah.
So the anxiety gives you some energy to be able to keep going through your run.
And I'm saying, no, wait a minute. Is that something you find as well?
I don't think I was doing that consciously, but yes, I can relate to actually. Well, I'm thinking of anxiety as a motivator for me, and I think in that I can relate to the exercise piece where it's like if I'm feeling anxious, it does feel good for me to get out, and it's a way to kind of calm that down. But as far as like schoolwork, I think that if I'm feeling anxious, it's not a great motivator. It doesn't help me to get things done the way I would like to get them done, but I can get them done.
Totally the opposite for me.
Yeah.
So for you, maybe it is a motivating.
Oh, yeah, I'm a notorious like last minute paper writer because I'm motivated, I'm not confident, but I'm motivated by pressure, right? So I guess that's kind of a form of anxiety where it's like unless something is imminently happening for me, it doesn't, like I don't feel propelled forward. So it's like, give me a couple days before the due date and then I feel really motivated and I can really focus. I get a lot of focus out of that.
Yeah, see, I don't
But
have
if
the
I
focus. I
try-
need the fire under my butt, but I don't have the focus.
Yeah, I
to
get
do that.
focused from
Yeah.
it for sure. Yeah. Like hyper, like, and yeah, but I see people, other people who have the experience where it's like they do little bits at a time that helps them manage anxiety and they build this big process over time. And for me, it's like all or nothing, all at one time. Works really
Can anxiety be used as a procrastinator too?
So, love the question, just hear her first. So I hear for you, anxiety you almost let it build up. And then you go, I'm just wondering, is anxiety something that people see as, what did you say?
Procrastination.
As a procrastination, yeah, so love the
Stopping
question, just hear the person first and then move it out, right? In that activity, love the activity. Yeah, the 2 minutes of breathing, you didn't really explain it to me.
Yeah, I realized that afterwards.
Yeah, because part of what, where you struggled was that you were giving your experience of rather than just letting the activity be. So in some ways, nice because it gives people permission to know, oh, I can't make it and therefore you might not make it. But in some ways, it's more important that we explain the activity more clearly. Right, does that make sense to people? Was there anybody thinking, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing here?
I liked the invitation because I didn't feel, I don't feel anxious, so I didn't feel like I needed to ground, but I liked the opportunity to just kind of take a couple minutes to be silent.
So you just
Because,
used
like,
it in your own way.
Yeah, yeah. But because I had thought, I'm like, oh, I wonder if she's trying to get her, like, I had thought before you were done, I'm like, I wonder if after we're done with, she's going to ask, on the scale of 1 to 10, did our anxiety level go down? Because initially we started
Yeah,
with.
no, I wasn't.
Oh, okay, so I was like, what am I gonna do?
Zero?
I don't feel.
I
I was
started
like,
at
I
one,
was-
yeah.
I started at 1, so then I was like, well, I'll just think I'm gonna be like,
No, I wasn't. so.
No, and it's not right or wrong. You could have easily gone to that. All you have to do is make it a part of it. So if you came back and said, well, I'm at a 1, right? So watch creating a dynamic in your group in which there's any kind of right or wrong experience out of an activity.
Because I felt like I didn't want to say how it was for me, so I was like, the counting didn't work for me, and so I was like, I'm doing this wrong. So I'm like, I knew it wasn't wrong, but I was like, oh, I kind of want to say that I'm not, that I didn't have an experience with that, but I had my own experience.
I got that activity, my daughter's teacher does it with the kids, so it's probably, maybe it's more suited for kids.
No, not at all.
I'm just thinking the counting piece of it.
Not at all. Here's one possibility. You could count your breaths, or you could do whatever works for you. Maybe for you, it's just being in silence for 2 minutes. All I want you to do in this activity is to take a couple of minutes and notice your breathing in whatever way works for you.
And I was focused on the way the teacher told me about it.
Yeah, and in
Yeah.
some ways, it's a great activity. I had to laugh because, I just thought, okay, well, they're doing an activity, I might as well do it too.
So you did it?
I was wondering if you were over there.
But, me being me, I got going in the activity and then all of a sudden the buzzer went off and I was completely gone and I thought, what's that for? Oh, yeah, we're doing it. So,
Yeah.
the important thing isn't what we do with the activity, the important thing is that I have a group in which whatever you do with the activity is fine. So for you, when you spent 2 minutes, you just kind of relaxed with your breathing. For you, you were going, oh my goodness, I don't think I'm doing this right. Anybody else? Right?
I get distracted.
Heather looked so relaxed, I didn't want to bring her out of it. That's not like, are you with us? Because I was like, you were so peaceful. I'm like, I don't want to interrupt her. She's there, but.
But the best way to do that in that kind of an activity is have people give a sign when they're doing the group game. So can everybody just look at me when they're ready to join the group game? Can everybody just put their feet down? I don't know, whatever your activity
Like do
is.
that before you do the activities.
Before you do the activity, as you know, as we're, well, no, I'd probably do it at the end. I'd say, because you have the timer go off, so everybody knows that the timer's going off. And then I would say, so just take the time that you need, and when you're ready to kind of come back to the group, if you could just look at me so that I know that you're ready to come back to the group, and then I would just wait for everybody
I
to look
did
at
say
me.
something kind of like that. I think I just said, is everybody, are ready to join us again?
Yeah,
It wasn't that, it was.
It was a
I
little
did.
bit like that. You can see it on the tape.
Yeah.
You have a brilliant ability to do great leaps.
Mhm.
So you went, I'm hearing that for everybody, you actually did a thing.
Pardon me?
Yeah, I'm hearing that everybody had a really good activity. I don't know the exact words, I did write it down over there. But if you watch the tape, as you were debriefing that activity, you didn't actually debrief that activity. You left to, I'm hearing that everybody, but you actually hadn't nobody said anything.
Right.
So you left to, I've already heard what you guys have said, but actually nobody had said anything. So that's what I mean by a big leap. It's not right or wrong, we just have to be careful that when we do that, that
Would it be more appropriate, like, it looks like everybody?
it's wonderful. And then,
Because I was seeing it, I just maybe chose the wrong words, or is it still leaping?
I think that you do leaps, and that I do leaps too, so we just have to kind of watch out that when we do those leaps, that what we imagine has occurred, because part of it is that we may be reading the group quite accurately, but that's not the important thing. Part of what we have to make sure is that when we do those kind of leaps, that actually what our assumption has been, we've in some way checked out.
Right.
So I don't think your assumption was off in some ways, but we don't actually know because we didn't actually, so, and it's a tough one, because by not doing that, it became closure.
Yeah, well, it was supposed to be the closure activity,
Oh.
but I was stuck, I didn't know what to do.
So
Right.
the
Because
second.
you guys were anxious.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So,
That's my expectation, though. I assumed people would be anxious because I'm anxious. The end of the course and having to write papers and blah, 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 blah.
So, then it's always having that backup kind of thing in your session plans, right? You're gonna have session plans that you'll realize if you actually get to do them, that actually you probably have an activity too many in most of them, but every once in a while you need every darn activity and have an activity in your back pocket. So, one of the things that sometimes you can do with activity is when it goes the exact opposite way of you expecting it to go, just make that what you're working with. So, and a really nice one for group facilitators is when I get lost, do a dyad exercise and don't participate. So that you have time to go off, look at your writing and go, okay, where am I gonna go from here? And just go with what is. So I'm just wondering if we could partner off and you can just talk about, what's it like recognizing that at this point in time, whatever you're doing with your anxiety is such that you all seem to be quite comfortable. Or can you remember a time when it wasn't comfortable? Or can you can go all sorts of ways, right? So if you did a dyad activity, then you can go off and go, okay, what the heck am I gonna do? So it just gives you time. It's good to have activities in your back pocket. It's always fascinating the assumptions we make about what activities are gonna be for people, and they mess with them. And it's wonderful when you're kind of ready for we went off this way, because you're not coming from a right, wrong, I know what they're gonna get out of this, or what you should be getting out of this, or what they ought to be getting, or what everybody will be doing. Right? So it's a beautiful time to just, I have been humbled by that. Where I do things like say to the class, so it looks like, you're all really clear about this, or you've already done this, and they're saying, I know, I'm at the end of class, I have 6 people standing in front of me saying, I didn't get that at all, and it's like, oh, yeah.
Can I kind of jump in and just kind of, because there was something that Angie said during the thing that connects with what I wrote on the board here, which is of course another quote. And Angie said something about not going with the wave. And I think of it as going with the wave and dealing with whatever comes at you. And so can I ask people what they do? Like, do you go with the wave, or do you, I'm not going with the wave and I'm gonna deal?
No, and what, if Angie gave that to you, I'd just go with that.
Yeah.
I'd say, wow, okay, so one of the things that this quote brings up for you is a recognition that you don't always go with the wave. And for you, that means,
I don't
was
like, sorry?
I was gonna try to get to that too, but then I felt so lost. Sorry.
Okay, and I forgot the question.
basically you said that you weren't gonna go with the wave.
Right.
And what that-
So, yeah, so, and I just said, you know, like, it comes and it's, I just don't catch a ride because it doesn't serve me to do that.
So for you, going with the wave kind of means riding the power of something else.
Yeah, you're
And that
giving
doesn't-
into it.
You're giving into it, neat. So, I don't know, did anybody else have a different kind of interpretation of this book?
I didn't know it was there.
Well, I didn't point it out or anything, I just wrote it down, and if people notice it.
We happen to
Don't
use the
worry.
same analogy, I think.
Yeah, again, I think situational, it depending what is going on and where I'm kind of at. If I've neglected my self-care for a while, I may just give in and just kind of try and survive. And then once I kind of bounce that, then it's like, no, this is what needs to happen, and kind of get back on track. Or if I'm in good space and I feel like I'm doing good work, then I just do it right away. But it really depends, because usually when things are going well, I will slowly slip with self-care and doing that work. Yeah,
So I hear you. So that it
maintaining
really-
is a little difficult, so
Yeah.
it really
Oh.
depends when stuff comes flying at me, where I'm at.
Yes, absolutely, I hear you, and there's a kind of a different ways that you might ride the wave.
Yeah.
But Donna, you had a beautiful place then to take it to take it back to your quote, and you could do a few things with that. You could say, okay, let's just take a moment and look at this quote, and what does it say to you?
Right, yeah, see, I was worried that it would be, like I was saying, well, this is what you should do, so I've been trying to figure out in my head a way to say it.
Do you see your leap
Yeah.
again?
Yeah,
Right, instead of just letting the quote be there, you're already leaping to, they're gonna think that I'm telling them that this is what they should do.
maybe I don't know how to say it without it sounding that way.
I think that, if I can give you a little bit of feedback about
Yeah,
that,
totally.
I think that you get to a place where you really want to be understood about where you're coming from, and then you have a tendency to over-explain. So you give us, you didn't do this, but as an example, I would
Yeah.
expect that you give us this quote and tell us what it meant to you,
Yeah, and I didn't want to do that.
and then it gives us a preconceived idea of
Exactly,
what
I
you're
didn't
looking
want to
for,
do
right?
that. And I was like, how
Instead
can I
of
use it
saying-
without doing that?
Instead of saying, I'll ride the wave where it takes me, what does that
Yeah,
bring up for you?
Yeah.
That's all you need to say. Because your experience is going to affect
I
our
know,
interpretation.
exactly,
right?
yeah, that's
So-
why I was like, how can I bring this in without explaining
You're
it?
being totally clear. Just take your explanation out.
And your experiences, because
It's the
that's
whole
what
control thing that I have to let go of. I've got a real control enthusiast, so
Well said, well said.
I felt that way at the very beginning of
I'm
the
very simple.
at the activity, when we talked about anxiety, you said it was about, it was about you, the
Yeah.
anxiety, and I was like, oh, well, I thought we were a group and it was about us. And so, just your experience about it, and, yeah, it kind of, like, oh, so this is actually about you, not about.
But no, because I didn't talk about my anxiety, and I didn't really, I just said that I was feeling anxious, I didn't
Hold
go
on,
on
just
to
here.
anything.
Yeah, so if I hear for you, Heather, that, that's one of the things that kind of stood up for you, that you got a little confused about, is it about my anxiety or is it about the group's anxiety? Just curious, right? That's where you move back into control, when you're saying, just hold on, but that wasn't what I intended, and I didn't really do it this way, and then we move back into trying to control the experience.
I
rather than-
didn't think that was group there, so.
It doesn't matter, it's still a great place to just practice that, just a great place to practice that, and just let it be there. Because I agree with you, and I think that one of the places that we can sometimes all get caught is at times we're so caught in our own self-awareness. They did a study once, this just cracked me up, on who's really the drivers out there that drive us all crazy. Well, no, I figured, I know, they're the
Like
guys
literally
that
on the
drive
road driving?
16 to
Okay.
25, going wee.
Oh, like literal drivers.
Yeah.
That's not what I. Literal drivers.
Yeah, so I've got it in my head, I know who it is, and then I read the study. The people that are most likely to challenge us on the road are those that they identify that they deal with anxiety and depression, particularly while driving, because they're so caught up in their own experience that they struggle to recognize, it's like, I'm getting going and I'm doing okay here, and I don't even notice that I now have a lineup of 10 people behind me because I'm so invested. So sometimes we have to be really careful that our self-awareness doesn't mean that we get caught more in our stuff and not noticing the others. It's always a balance. Right? So how do I both hold mine here, but also go out to the others? And I think I said this in Mindful First Day. When you find yourself too caught up in your own stuff, you've lost your client or clients completely. It's not about them.
And that's a hard balance sometimes. You know, sometimes it's, you can really get caught up in your own head, and then at the end of the day,
Yeah.
what did I
What
do,
happened
right?
today?
Like, and you have to go back and really kind of look at that. Because it's like, you need to put your stuff on the back burner, but then, and do what you need to do, like for your clients, but then you need to bring that back up, and you need to do that work, and you need to go back to it.
Yeah, well said.
Sometimes I forget it,
Yeah, well,
and then that's bad.
I love denial, and I agree with you. Sometimes you can go through a whole day, and what that would really say to me is part of what you said earlier. If I go through a day where I really got caught in my stuff over and over again, I'm not doing whatever my stuff is. I'm not doing the work that I need to do. One of the things that I find uncanny in the work that I do is if I'm, I lost my father, and he's died, I'm in a grieving process, then everybody seems to be coming in with the grieving process. It's just uncanny.
Yeah.
I find it in you, and I find it in you, so that whole picture that I put up on the board of the joke where the dog's doing the work, we carry ourselves with us so much that we'll start to see in others what actually is about us sometimes more than it is about others, because we're illuminating parts of the work that happens with us. So go do a trauma workshop, and every single client that walks in will be filled with trauma. Focus on anxiety, and everybody else will be going, oh my goodness, everybody's anxious. They go,
As a reflective practitioner, when I notice those things in the workplace or during the week, then I reflect it back and say, what was that about me? What is it that I need to look at or work on, and then kind of deal with it that way.
Love it. Yes, so just kind of taking it on and reflecting on it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of what you're saying too, not making it right or wrong, but just reflecting.
And noticing that
Yeah.
it's there,
Yeah.
and then choosing not to do with it.
And if you live in my world, and choosing to do that in a compassionate and curious way, I have no energy that I'm putting to beating myself up. Doesn't make any sense. Taking a lot of practice,
did that for a
but
long
25
time.
years.
I'm good at that. Yeah.
It takes away from the learning because you're busy going, I should have done this, I should have done that. I mean, look at the learning that you've offered for yourself in the group that you've done.
I was thinking, oh, we should have done this like first day last week.
When everybody was anxious.
You thought it was fine. It's fine. You did a beautiful job of illustrating to the group that sometimes when we're doing a topic, it's also a topic that's close to us, that sometimes we can get caught in the anxiety ourselves.
Yeah, but I feel like that's not what I was supposed to be doing.
Well, you learned.
It's a blow up that you can talk about in 5 years.
What do
Or,
you mean?
like how she talks about blow ups in
Yeah, I got so anxious in a group on anxiety that I kind of went, whoa.
I know, but and all I'm focusing on now is like, God, do I even have 20 minutes I can use?
Yeah.
So I'm getting completely distracted, looking at my time. So please, we have 20 minutes.
We're getting a very clear, you got it there.
I thought that was good. I thought that was really good. I thought you asked really good questions.
Like they were, and I wouldn't have known that you were feeling anxious.
Oh, yeah, totally. And as soon as I close a face, remember I gave you a little face when I heard the door open? I'm like,
Oh, right. You got anxious when Janet came
oh,
in.
even more so.
Yeah.
I was already, and then when I heard Janet come in.
Yeah,
No blame, I'm not putting, it's
Oh,
all
I
me,
don't
it's all
think-
me.
I don't know at all.
I know, I probably
Hopefully not the first time.
No.
No, but I was like, I'm gonna be okay with this. I was like,
Or, you know.
talk to myself, I'm gonna be fine when Janet comes in.
I just didn't run around like in that last session.
Jiggle the door.
Yeah. Oh, we did that earlier.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
No. I was also gonna say too, like you did a very good job matching us. Like I noticed how much calmer and quieter your voice got after we finished our activity, and you were like very like I think Heather was like leaned in. You're very quiet and calm, and I figured totally like you were matching what we were doing. Yeah, definitely noticed that.
So I don't know where we're at time-wise, but I'm just gonna give you.
41 minutes.
No,
What is your what is it?
The actual
45,
time.
10:51. Oh,
10:51, is that?
10:51. I'm trying to think, how do I say this?
What
One
time
at a
is
time.
it?
What time is it?
Donna, if you really don't have 20 minutes there, you're gonna be awfully darn close. Janet will forgive you. Okay?
Just use the first 10 minutes.
Yeah,
You were
that,
at
oh, I
26
will, exactly.
Before you asked for help.
Was it at 26? I thought it was only about 19.
Well, even then,
And I
that's
love the
19,
way
20
you
minutes.
talk in the third person, because it did make me think of Seinfeld, and George likes his chicken spicy, and I don't know if anybody would get that, but Marakara was.
Okay. I'm too old.
No, you're not.
Oh.
No, you're not too
old
old.
for Seinfeld? I should got rescued in that
They're
one,
too
didn't I?
young for Seinfeld.
That's more like it.
Oh, no.
I'm watching it in
My
reruns.
life-
Yeah.
Reruns.
Exactly, my whole life is a
I've
Seinfeld.
never watched a Seinfeld.
No. If you did, you would know something.
Right now, and Shmoopy, and you're
See, I guess I'm missing out on life.
No.
No, you're not.
Summer Joe?
No?
No double dipping.
Yeah.
That's like the driver thing.
He is on the other team, and the other team gets to play with the equipment. And I don't get a chance to
Queen
play
of
with
the
the equipment.
castle.
And I then don't know how to use the equipment in the same way. That was a whole thing on, what was her name?
Elaine.
Elaine, one of her boyfriends left her for another guy. I don't get to play with the equipment daily, so how am I supposed to know what to do with the equipment? And she just does this brilliant thing. There was one
And
of-
her sponge work.
The sponge worthy, oh my God.
I liked it. She brought women's sexuality to a whole different place. Do you remember when they competed about
Yes.
masturbation?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, the
Yeah, and she
contest.
just walked in.
I'm the queen of.
Yeah,
oh,
here's my $20. I didn't
Yeah,
even get
I'm out.
24 hours.
Yeah, it was like-
Kramer doesn't even, he just walks out the door and comes back in again. I'm out. No, no, that's okay. My life is all about Seinfeld. My husband and I call each other Shmoopy. because of
It's pretty
Seinfeld.
funny. Like it's pretty like I mean it's super sitcom-y,
It's
canned
typical.
laughter and stuff like that. But it's like roommates, right? And so it's so ridiculous and like the relationships are so and so like because of comedy, right?
Oh.
But I think you probably get this stuff over it.
So anybody else have anything they want to say?
I think you got exhaustive feedback already.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, I think you probably got.
Okay, thank you,
but
everybody.
you tied everything together, like you were.
I gotta ask you a question. Did I, because I was really trying hard to learn how to make empathic statements. Did I make any? Did anybody think I made it? Because I was really thinking about it, and I think by thinking about it, I thought about it too much, and that made it harder.
And I don't know if I can go back.
Yeah.
I think that you get a feeling about, well,
Yeah,
that's,
it's
I
a
think
thought,
that's
it's
what
like a thought
happens, because I was
action
thinking
feeling.
about that when Lindley was doing hers too, about how it's the meaning making that's the hardest part for people. In general, it's not that it's hard, but it's like connecting that, it's like, you think X, and that makes you feel Y,
Yeah.
and therefore
It's the
this.
therefore,
And then
yes.
that piece gets missed
Yes.
sometimes, so I can't think of it.
I don't think I got any therefores, I think I got the first bit.
No, no worries. My laptop takes forever.
Yeah, I think I was missing that, I was
Are you going
trying.
with us?
but-
Yeah.
Whatever.
No,